We're now recording. We're actually recording the audio on the actual audio recorder this time, instead of just passing it straight through to the camera.
Oh, was the last one just from the camera?
Yeah, the last couple have been from the camera because this has not been saving, and now I understand why it's not been saving. So,
oh, cool.
Look at that. Already had to use the gear I've had for 10 years.
There we go.
Well, I mean, it's also been 12 years since Burnout Radio. So, all right. So this is episode 3 of the Boo Hurt Is Love podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Charles. He's the pretty one.
And this episode is brought to you by Peach Vibe Sparkling White Edition.
No, it's not. We don't have that sponsorship.
We don't have any sponsorship?
We don't have any sponsorship.
Well, that's what we drinking today.
Yeah. Some dude at the Arnold asked me if I had an NIL deal for Boo Hurt. NIL is name, image, likeness. It's, it's a sponsorship.
It's how people get paid.
Yeah.
Like we get paid doing the sport.
No, I don't. I was like, nah, man, I've never.
Dude, you know what we should put back here?
What?
All the medals.
Oh.
Instead of just hanging them up on that hook up in the office, we could just,
Yeah.
Put the accolades back there.
That way people can be like, oh, what do these dudes win? Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's what
good, though.
Yeah. All right. So, on this episode, we're going to talk about concussions.
Head injuries.
And why Wolfribs suck.
Oh.
That's actually the title of this podcast. Why Wolfribs suck.
The title of the whole podcast?
The whole podcast.
Interesting.
All right. So, this sport is violent. Not sure if you're aware, but we like to call it the Armor Cuddle League.
Yeah. But then it's
aggressive cuddling.
It is a kinetic sport.
Very much so.
Very kinetic.
Now, the good thing for us is that, for the most part, armor works.
Very much so.
Right?
If you wear it correctly.
Yeah.
Huge.
Our most common injuries come from ill-fitting or ill-repaired armor.
Yeah, every time I've gotten hurt.
Yeah. And a lot of those...
except for my fucking hamstring, but... Yeah.
Was that really an injury?
No, it was. It was.
I mean, you went skipping across the list and just fell over.
It was swollen up. It was all the way swollen.
The vast majority of injuries in the sport come from ill-fitting armor, namely new fighters and borrowed helmets.
Yeah. I wore a borrowed helmet for 3 years, and then 2 years after that, after I got a helmet that was made for me, I still wasn't wearing it correctly because I didn't know.
Yeah. So if you're a new fighter or you're looking to get in the sport, do not buy any gear without talking to a veteran fighter who has been to big tournaments and has experience.
Yeah.
Talk to several veteran fighters. Okay. Not just one. If you're on a team that hasn't done any international competitions, they don't count as experienced. Now, I know that sounds rude and all that good stuff. What I mean is people have confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to tell you, hey, this armor worked great. I've been fighting it for 4 years, and the dude's never actually taken a shot.
Yeah, he's never made it.
Right, because he's been doing a bunch of Ren Fair stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's a different level of competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to equip yourself for what you're trying to do in the sport.
Okay, armor works great when you're an okay fighter.
Yeah.
You step into the big leagues where the Austins and freaking Simon Rorick and Creedican and these guys
dogs.
They can actually swing, start swinging. Mm-hmm. You really want to have armor that's capable of protecting you at that level. So you want to talk to someone who's been fighting at that level. Exactly. That's what I mean by if they've gone to international tournaments, to have some national tournaments under their belt. Mm-hmm. They typically have the experience to properly advise you on at least what kind of armor you should be looking at. Okay. Now, this specifically is not a podcast on armor. We will be talking about armor in depth in a future episode.
Why is this stuff simultaneously good and ass at the same time?
It is. It's amazing. It's the vibe. It's the peach vibe.
Maybe I don't care how ass it is because of how much of a vibe it is, but something is ass about this, and I don't know what it is.
It's the fake peach flavor in it, man. But simultaneously, that's also why it's good.
Like peach rings. Okay, maybe.
That's also why it's good, though.
I feel like somebody's lied to me, but I'm not sure.
I started drinking these because of the Arnold. Because they had those hot girls get them out for free.
And
they're just like, here. And I was like, all right. And then it turns out, so Rain, which is what I was drinking, I stopped drinking because it made me feel like terrible. And this Celsius stuff doesn't. And it's just a bunch of like actual vitamins that I normally take anyway.
Is biotin? Biotin is good for you, ain't it?
I'm assuming so. I don't know what it is.
It's got 1,000% of our daily value in it. I hope it's great.
It's got like vitamin C, riboflavin, calcium, niacin, B6, B12.
Yeah.
So it's got a bunch of stuff that I'm normally taking, and then it only has 200 milligrams caffeine, which is about what a cup of coffee has.
It also has chromium, big dog. We can shine.
Exactly. Well, dude, I always glisten. What are you talking about?
Shine.
So anyway, this episode specifically, we're talking about concussions and how they relate to our sport. Okay.
Not a whole bunch, but they do. There's
a lot of concussion related injuries. I say a lot. There's a significant amount. The most common injury you're going to get in the sport's a knee injury.
Yeah, knee, ankle, foot.
So we see that a lot. Most of your percussive impact injuries are hand injuries.
Yeah, bruises,
contusions, things like that. Stuff that
fractures
tends to heal pretty quickly and on its own. Right. I don't really consider a bruised ass cheek an injury.
Yeah, no, it's an owie.
Now, it may look like to somebody from outside the sport, like, I'm never doing that again because, your entire right ass cheek turns black.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like limping around for 6 days. But it heals on its own, right?
Don't even really need to talk to a doctor because you know it's up.
The doctor's going to be like, what are you doing? Don't do that again. That's stupid.
Don't get hit there, Doug.
Now, one of the things we should mention is deep bruises like that can lead to strokes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you can have our pulmonary embolisms. You can have blood clots in an injury like that break off and can travel to the brain or heart or whatever and cause a lot of damage. So it's not like we're not saying that these things are not.
We're not saying they don't matter.
They don't matter. You should make sure you don't get them, but they're not as traumatic typically in 99% of cases as, say, breaking a femur or stuff. Well, like that, they got his leg snapped on the list at Nationals 2 years ago. They're not, those big type of injuries tend not to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Most injuries in our sport tend to be something that you are going to be out for a few weeks and then back in on your own healing time with some rehab.
Yeah, exactly.
Our most common injury that we see, and the Warlords, at least in training, is an ACL tear.
Yeah, we've got
a lot of knee
muscular
damage, right?
issues.
And it's because our sports are grappling intensive sport.
Yeah.
Right. And you see those in BJJ, you see those in judo, you see those. Where you got a grappling intensive sport, you see a lot of joint type injuries
because you got a lot of joint manipulation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And especially when you got big dudes falling and that kind of stuff.
Number one cause of damage in this sport: big dudes falling.
Big dudes falling. I mean, my most worst injury came from falling.
Yeah.
Right? I got thrown and broke my collarbone, separated my shoulder.
It wasn't falling. Bam Bam picked him up, went like that, and dropped him. He's so
freaking strong.
He's freak nasty.
I had so much hang time on that throw that I had time to think, this is gonna suck. Like, he literally threw my 250-pound ass through the air like Superman.
That same match, I was like, let's do it, Bam Bam. And you can hear me go, come on, Bam Bam, come on. And he punches me, and I stopped talking. I'm like, let's do it, man. And then we're grappling. I was like, that's crazy.
I don't care how hard you hit me. I'm never going to stop running.
I tried. There was nothing coming out.
So, but that that also required no surgery. I was out for 6 weeks, and then took about 6 weeks worth of rehab.
I think you kind of lucked out though, because that was
could have been a lot worse. Yes.
Yeah, that was a tough injury. He basically broke a bone spur off of his shoulder.
Yeah, which I'd gotten from repeated axe strikes. Is what the doctor said. He's like repeated percussive injury gave a bone spur that broke off of my collarbone. Which is, anyway, it hurt a whole lot, but it was not really a terrible injury.
So,
all right, so on the subject today, which is concussions as they relate to our sport. All right, so first we got to define what a concussion is. Now, we both played football.
Yeah.
All right. And you got a lot of concussions.
Oh, man.
I collected a couple, but you collected them like trading cards. Pokemon.
So, like, the way I fight now is the same way I played football, and that was, like...
On the ground a lot?
Yes, but football, being on the ground in football is assumed. You're assumed to be on the ground. You know this. I was a contact player, period. It didn't matter if I had the ball. It didn't matter if I didn't have the ball. I was looking for contact I was looking to give it.
I mean, I was a headhunt linebacker.
Yeah, like exactly,
right?
like that's what you do. And something that we actually noticed about what we were looking at earlier: concussions aren't actually caused by the brain impacting on the sides of the skull.
Yeah, that was what we were told when I mean, if you grew up playing football within the decades that we played ball, right? You were taught that it's from the impact. Like a good helmet will prevent a concussion,
and it doesn't. It's
a football style helmet is incapable of preventing a concussion. Now it's
great
skull fracture,
actual job, which is
skull fracture or like traumatic head injury,
which is what they were initially made them start wearing them for, is because guys were getting their skulls fractured and their heads caved, and they're like.
But now we're seeing like you don't see near the concussion rate in rugby because they don't wear a helmet, right?
Yeah, because your helmet is your weapon.
Yeah,
like that is.
And so football, they wear just enough padding where they feel safe. And because it's style sport and going to the ground isn't penalized if you're not the guy with the ball, right? We see a lot heavier hits.
You also have some really, really giant athletic men, like guys who are 250 pounds running at a 4.6. Like that is a lot of energy.
Well, I have never once in the sport of boot hurt armor combat ever gotten up from a cross check or any other hit and had to go, does everything still work?
Yeah, true.
You know, when you get absolutely jacked off the line.
One time when he hit me in practice, actually, and we were practicing the like pick up the helmet thing.
Yeah.
And I've been down to get the helmet, and I just get absolutely murdered. And I just like, I remember looking up and the ground is just like, or the world spinning around me, and I hit the ground. I'm like, what happened? What? And I look up, and it took me, a second or two to realize that, like, that was Charlie that hit me. And I was like, hey, don't do that anymore.
Well, we had this thing we play, it's a cardio style thing where it's basically rugby and armor. Yeah. Right? And so it's okay if you go to the ground.
That was back when we were still
training in the sand pit.
In the sand pit at the park. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And so in that case, you can actually deliver a full impact. In our sport, we can't deliver a full impact because we have to stay up, right? And because of that, we tend not to see those full body impacts like you do in football. We also wear a different style helmet. A football helmet's very light.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
We wear typically our lighter helms are around 12 to 15 pounds.
Yeah, you're still not. No helmets under 10 pounds.
Yeah. At least if they're not no safe helmet is under 10 pounds. Yeah. Okay. And that goes into what a concussion, what actually protects you from a concussion. Concussions are not, today they theorize concussions are caused by not the brain sloshing around in the head because you don't have a whole lot of room for it to slosh.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about like 2 millimeters of space.
And here's what's actually a trip. The NFL is giving players these things. If you've been watching football, you've seen them. They go around their neck, and what they do is they cause like a slight swelling of the brain, increase your blood. Increase your blood volume.
The blood pressure. Yeah, they're raising the blood pressure in your head,
and it makes your brain not move around as much,
which helps. But
the thing is, it's basically torsion in your brain. It's your brain twisting in on itself.
So I don't know how much crossover we have between boot hurt and NASCAR, but everybody knows who Dale Earnhardt is, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Number 3, the Intimidator. He died from what's called a basilar skull fracture.
Yep.
Okay. Now, a basilar skull fracture happens is the maximum concussion you can get.
Yeah.
Okay, because what they theorize a concussion is caused now is your brainstem and your brain your brain is twisting around the brainstem. It's a rotational twist. So, like if you were to say, why boxers and MMA fighters get so many concussions because they get hit on the lower side of the jaw and it causes their head to rotate.
Causes that stretching of the brain.
And then they're stretching that internal gray matter. So when you see CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. I've had
neither one of us are going to. We're not going to do that one.
It's CTE. If you look at CTE, they're seeing this emaciation and destruction of internal brain tissue right at the base of the skull,
which directly argues with everybody, which directly debunks everybody's thought of a concussion, which is the brain.
Outside the brain smacking the skull, right?
Which sucks, which your brain doesn't want to do, but that's
but we're saying
hard to do.
The CTE is internal. So And it happens because, you know, if you have two sides of your brain, right brain, left brain, right? And there is a hard fibrous material that runs down the middle that divides them. Okay. That's called the falx. Right.
Oh, and we're connected to it. It's basically the umbilical we got connected. It's a whole bunch of
cables and wires.
A bunch of cables,
yeah. So
definitely zip tied together.
Definitely. And they're cut off pointy. So this is the stiff fibrous layer. And what happens is as your brain twists, it can and you receive impact, it can transfer those forces straight to the to that wiring Charles is talking about at the base of this fibrous blade that runs between your lobes of your brain. And that wiring that connects both sides of the brain is called the corpus callosum, right? And what they're theorizing now is that wiring at the brain is right there at the base.
Colossus, giant core, giant.
I don't speak Latin.
Corpus.
I literally learned this from a dude on YouTube 10 minutes before the show. So we're not experts.
I'm going to look up. Colossus means giant.
Probably giant wire. I don't know. Giant body.
Giant something. Interesting.
Yep. So is it corpus body? Corp body.
Well, because I was thinking Corpus Christi, and I'm like, surely not, but maybe. Oh, hang on, give me a second. So I got to check this out.
So anyway, the corpus callosum is this big bundle of wires, for lack of a better word, that connects the left and right brain. And what they're theorizing CTEs cause now is when the force is transferred to that bundle of wires, and at the top of this, where your spine connects into your brain, and it causes a short circuit between the left and right halves of the brain, for lack of a better word.
You might have to be the smart one too, because body corpus means body.
That's because corpse.
Yeah. Hey,
Etymology, dude. I'm a word nerd.
Giant body.
All right. So it's a giant body of fibers, I guess.
Oh, yeah, giant body of.
Yeah. So, all right. So hit that one again.
Corpus Christi. Our camera OD'd on us again.
So it turns out that Corpus Christi,
it means body of Christ. What?
Yeah. They've got all the Spaniards coming here for Catholicism. Yes, that's where Corpus Christi comes from.
Yeah. I'm getting learned.
All right. So,
I talk all that smack about this stuff being kind of ass, and it's gone. No,
it's delicious, dude. Hey, Celsius, if you want to sponsor a really crappy podcast,
I know a couple guys.
We're here for it.
One's pretty.
I mean, Charles, I think all of your girlfriends would say they're at least two of us are attractive.
Immediately getting me in trouble.
So, all right. So, CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I'm not.
There it is. Encephalopathy. That was it.
All right, we got one. All right. So this is repeated traumatic brain injuries, repeated concussions that lead to this thing. One concussion is not great, but
more than
10 or 12 is really not good.
I'm not doing good, Charlie.
So how can we prevent concussions? All right. We swing axes at one another. We take heavy cross checks. Cross check for those that are, it's that thing in hockey that's illegal to do. Yeah. It's greatly smiled upon.
It's called cross sticking in hockey.
Cross sticking.
Because you can't use your stick.
We actually highly encourage our senators and players to do this.
I love it. I got to find that video of me getting Taylor Jones. and then him getting me. I think the next time we fought, he got me the same way. So, all right.
So this leads to a lot of head motion when you're hit with an axe, or somebody runs into you with a full body cross check.
I wouldn't even say with an axe though, because I can't think of very many times when I saw somebody get hit with the axe and their head went. So their head did the motion. What
happens is this. We remember when we started this podcast, we said that most injuries come from ill-fitting armor.
Oh,
when you tattoo somebody in a face mask with an axe or a shield punch.
Oh, that's where I got these.
And it contacts their head. What happens? They hit the ground real fast.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing a helmet's supposed to protect from: impact damage. Right? Concussion is not impact damage.
Yeah, it's stretching.
It's the stretching and it's the stretching of the internal gray matter as your head rotates and the brain lags a little behind. Okay. Now,
which also explains why football players get them, because a lot of times when football players get hit, they get hit in their front jaw.
It's a full body hit.
They're twisting around that. So
it's two guys at speed colliding. Right. That's a car crash.
Well,
right. So now what we do in our sport tends not to lend itself to that kind of concussion as often, which is why we see lower concussion rates in our sport. But you still see guys get concussed pretty regularly. they're not wearing the right gear.
Something else that probably helps us with concussions is the Simon strap.
Yes.
Because it doesn't let our head do that motion. Interesting.
Well, we talked about Dale Earnhardt and that basilar skull fracture. Okay? We have the technology to prevent basilar skull fractures. We've had it since before Dale Earnhardt died.
And now
Dale
it's
Earnhardt
mandatory.
refused to wear it.
Yep.
And the other drivers didn't want to wear it because it restricted their head motion. They didn't like it. So you see, we had the same argument with fighters today, not wanting to wear what we call a Simon strap. Now, in racing, they have a collar.
Yeah, I remember.
It goes up behind the helmet, and it's and that collar is now strapped to the helmet with two straps.
Yeah.
Okay, the back of the helmet, and then when your racing harness, your seat belts go over the collar and buckle all of that down to you into the car. So when you get a large frontal impact, your head is held to your shoulders by the Hans device. It's a head and neck restraint. Okay,
so it's head and neck. Okay,
Hans, cool. Right? It's actually an acronym that doesn't suck.
Yeah, I thought the guy who made it was named Hans. I was like, all right,
head and neck restraint.
Nice.
So, and that keeps that completely prevents basilar skull fractures. Had Earnhardt been wearing one of these, he would not have died when he hit the wall. Okay. Now, in our sport, we pull from this device for what's called a Simon strap, and it's supposed to help keep your helmet on. It doesn't do a real good job of that.
No, because it straps break.
It's also the first strap in my kit to break.
Yeah,
but that's because my Simon strap is held on correctly. It is tight. If your Simon strap is not tight, it is not doing its job. Its job is to help prevent the wear and tear on your neck from grappling, and helps prevent concussions because your head isn't allowed to rotate as fast against that strap.
I'd like to see the long-term effects on, because another thing that is proven to kind of help with concussions, getting your neck huge.
Yes.
If you look up Takeo, Takeo Spikes, he played for the Cincinnati Bengals for 15 years. And you've probably seen a picture of this dude and been like, what his neck is like. It looks like he has a collar.
He doesn't have a neck. He just has traps. He has head trap.
He was also a linebacker. And if you know, linebackers, a lot of their motion, a lot of their contact is like this right here. Yep. So you're basically creating a battering ram with your body to push it through stuff.
Yep. So and what all of this stuff, the strap, we're talking about Simon strap, properly equipped Simon strap. You guys that are wearing that are like super loose. You're dumb.
You're doing it because
and the HMB guys are going. Well, I always see guys helmets with Simons popping off. Man, we see HMB helmets pop off too.
Yeah, helmet. Yeah,
right?
That's
if your helmet's coming off, it's because you don't have it strapped properly.
Our sport is one helmet coming away from not being a sport anymore. And
so. Now, with that said, okay. The point of having a large, strong neck, like this, is something that you can actively help prevent your own concussions by lifting. Go to the gym,
literally, the same way that you can prevent other injuries by making your muscles stronger.
Yep,
there you go.
Yep. So, the second easiest way to do this is a Simon strap. Helps prevent the helmet from moving. Okay, and my favorite way is wearing a big ass helmet.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Big ass helmet does two things. One, my helmet is not attached to my head. It is very loosely onto my head. At no point in time is my helmet actually physically attached to my head. So when I get hit with an axe, it doesn't. I don't actually feel it.
Yeah, you're hitting. You hit Charlie in the helmet. You're hitting his helmet and air under it.
Yes. So
and like 45,000 inches of padding.
Yeah, my helmet looks goofy.
Yeah, dude. Like his helmet can fit me, but not with padding in it. And I've got a big fucking head.
And dreads.
That's why my neck's so strong.
He's got like 8 pounds of dreads on his head, and I have 8 pounds of beard and no hair. So
one day we'll switch.
How am I going to grow dreads? I'm bald.
We'll trade.
We'll have surgery.
Head surgery.
Hair replacement surgery.
Man, Charlie's got some hair on him now, man. Where'd that come from? I don't know.
They can take the hair off my back and put it on my head for me.
Get some, what's it? Is it not Bosley? Is that Bosley?
Hair replacement.
Yeah, get the hair replaced.
So
that'd be a good ad. Most of the good fighters in Blue Hurt are close to 40. You get Bosley, bro.
Jesus, oh man.
Blue Hurt Bosley?
Blue Hurt Bosley.
Yo.
So what does a big helmet do? How does a big helmet prevent concussions? We can all be like, big helmet safer. Cool, I got that.
On the bunga.
What it does is it's usually heavier. My helmet weighs north of 20 pounds. Okay, my kit is 65 pounds total. About 23 pounds of that is in the helmet.
Yeah.
Okay. That prevents our It's Newton's laws of motion, right? Newton's laws of motion. Mass that is at rest tends to stay at rest. The mass in motion tends to stay in motion. The heavier an object is at rest, you have to put more energy into to get it to move. So it takes more energy to get my head to move than it does, say, someone wearing a super light 12-pound.
And that's for everybody, including him, right?
Yep. So then like a super light Wolfrib. Somebody's wearing like a 12-pound uber competitive Wolfrib. They're far more likely to get a head injury because it's easier to move their head.
Goodness gracious.
Now, there are some competitive trade-offs. You have much better vision out of a Wolfrib right up until you get stabbed in the eye, and you can no longer see out of half of your eyes.
Dude, I feel so, every time I put that helmet on, I feel so naked wearing it.
Yeah. So now, if you guys want to care to go look up what the helm's talking about, like, I wear what's called a great bassinet. Before that, I wore a great helm. A Sugarloaf is a great helm. And a great
if you look up his helmet, you'll be like, oh, that's the helmet that knights wear.
Yeah.
You know, that one and the what's the other one? The other really typical knight helmet. You
talking about what looks like a motorcycle helmet?
Yeah, kind of.
The Arme.
Arme, with the visor.
There's Arme and the Saleh.
Yep. The Salad is probably one of the cooler looking helmets too.
But when you're looking at these, are close helmets. Arme and close helmet are basically the same helmet, but the face opens differently.
Yeah.
So, but a great bassinet and a great helm were larger helms at the time of the period. Okay, and if we look at at period pieces, they still strap their helms to their chest plate. They strap their helms to their chest plate and back plate.
So they didn't actually have chin straps.
They may or may not have. It depends on the helmet.
Okay,
and how the helmet's designed. But they would strap them to their chest and back. Think about what they're doing. They're jousting.
Oh, so that they don't.
So that they're preventing concussions and stuff from these nobles doing this dumb sport, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
And they're using a Hans device 600 years before NASCAR.
Interesting,
right?
That's why. I bet that's why all the nobles helmets and shit are huge too.
Yeah, it's that
crazy.
Yep. So big helmet, big heavy helmet. If your helmet's not 2.5 millimeter, it's too. It's not that.
Yeah, if it's not 2.5 millimeter, you're not
2 millimeters league minimum. All right, and I think 2.5 to 3 is where you should be at.
I wear a 3 millimeter Wolfrib. Even the visor on that motherfucker's 3 mil. Like,
yeah. So my helmets are all 2.5 to 3.
Yeah.
And so they are heavy. And I have on the front of my helmet, I have an extra like throat plate that helps add weight. It also helps. Another thing that my helmet does is it grounds to my shoulders. Like your Wolfrib is big enough that it also
it sits on my
your shoulders. So having a large helmet that actually hits your shoulders, okay, prevents your head from moving in a side to side manner, which is where we see a lot of concussions. Okay, this is what causes concussions: is the physical movement of the head, especially side to side, rotational, or the other rotational. So if you're looking left, right, or if you're just tilting your head left.
I guess there would be a east-west axis and like a northwest southeast axis or something.
If you look, the way a dog tilts his head when you get its attention, it's like that way, or like
you can feel it if you put your neck out and tilt your neck.
Actually feel it.
That kind of like ringing in your ear. That's your point.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's got. I mean, that may be because you have 12 concussions, Charles.
Oh, dude, I've got way more. 12. And they didn't come from Boo Hurt, so I can already. You got concussions. You shut up, nerd.
I mean, I do have a scar from an ill-fitting helmet.
Yeah,
when Sean Kraken's lair caught me in my first ever mass battle with a.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
because my padding wasn't right in my helmet, and it actually kissed me in the.
I'm sure Charlie died. He died on video. You talking about when you disappeared?
Yeah. It was like 3 frames. You see the axe head enter the frame, it contact my helmet, and the next frame I'm out of the shot.
It's like that man died.
So after at that point, I started really taking how my helmet would fit and what padding was very seriously. Now let's talk a little bit about straps. Okay, cool. You've got basically the way modern Boo Hurt helmets are strapped is with a two strap system. It's the Ukrainian style.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what they'll do is they'll take, and I actually just got my helmet done like this. A year ago.
It's kind of a poor man's 4-point strap, but it's for a reason. A lot of guys with blue hairs have a beard, and if you have a beard, a chin cup doesn't sit on the beard.
Exactly.
Okay, and so it doesn't retain the helmet. One of the things our straps have to do is retain the helmet because we're pulling on helmets all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got to risk. That's one of the first things it has to do. And they'll strap it from around the back of the helmet, around the bottom of their bottom lip, basically. It sits on the front of the jaw.
And then they'll do another one.
And another one comes from the top, basically about where your ears are, down under your under the chin.
So you got basically an X holding your head up into your helmet like that.
And now there's the Ursus system, which is basically this, but on some D-rings.
Yeah,
there's different variations, but this is basically how all blue helmets are strapped.
I will tell you the best chin strap system I've had success with is the one that you just talked about with the D-rings. You take 2 D-rings and then you take a nylon strap, like the backpack straps. It's made into a chin cup or whatever, and you put your helmet on, and there's no buckles. You just pull it, and it cinches, and it doesn't come back, and it doesn't come out unless you physically go in there and break that backpack strap.
I hate all of these strap systems.
Yeah, he doesn't like any of them.
They're all dumb. Reason being, concussions exist. I don't want the helmet attached to my head.
Okay, gotcha.
If the helmet's attached to my head's going to rock.
Okay.
Any impact on that helmet is going through the helmet, through my head, into my body.
Gotcha. Okay.
I want the impact to bypass my head. So my helmet is not strapped to my chin. I just use a throat strap. It comes down from underneath, or just a simple strap that comes down underneath my jaw.
And that actually probably keeps your helmet on better than your Simon.
It does. I can fly without assignments as far as getting my helmet pulled off, but it's attached to my liner, not my helmet, my liner. Then my liner is sewn into my helmet.
Interesting.
Okay, so it adds another flex point. It also means that there's no rivets on the outside of the helmet to get sheared off and cause the chin strap to fail. Okay, so no matter how hard my helmet gets hit, my chin strap is not going to fail. Okay, it also is very hard to rip it out because it's sewn into the liner. I don't have to worry about it snapping. Okay, there's a bunch of flex in there. Also, it allows the helmet to move separate from my head. This means that I can move my head inside my helmet, left and right, so I get a better field scan, and people don't realize that I'm not looking at them.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, he's looking the other way, but I'm looking.
He's looking right at you.
I'm looking right at you, right? Which is a big. Sean does the same thing in his helmet because he has such wide peripheral vision that Sally that wears. And the other thing that it allows me to do is I have a chin pad that's where my chin sits inside my helmet. So if I get punched in the face, it grounds out on the chin pad and then into my chest.
Okay. So it's not attached.
Yeah. So I don't take any damage to my head, right? Because I don't want any sustained concussions. I've had concussions in the past for playing football. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
Right? So my helmet is specifically set up to avoid concussions, and I have not had a single concussion in this sport. Not one. I've been doing this for 6 years. I block with my face.
Yeah.
Right. I will literally move my head to take axe strikes because it's much more armored than any other part of my body.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of if someone's just the average fighter, their best, most protected part of them will be their head.
Should be. But the difference is, I have a chin pad, a big, soft chin pad that rests against my chin, and a throat strap. Okay. Most fighters do not have this. Most fighters have that chin cup system that we talked about, that twin strap system that really sucks the helmet down to their head. So any impact of the helmet is delivered to their head through padding. We all have padding, and you should have, speaking of padding, you need a big, soft, comfy layer.
Yes.
That's your coif.
You need concussion padding.
And then you need some kind of modern concussion padding. Camp mat foam is not this.
Not it yet.
Stop going to Walmart and buying that blue camp mat crap.
It doesn't
put in your helmet.
That stuff does not protect you
at all. You need something DO3.
Oh God, I'm not good with letters and numbers like that.
I can't recommend a specific one because we use some foam our close cell foam that we specifically got from Warlord Sports.
Okay.
And it's like a 6 pound, 4 pound close cell foam that EVA foam that we use.
I know what you're talking about.
But there are a bunch of different modern concussion padding foams that you can get out there. DO3 is one. It's a non-Newtonian fluid. That's a really good concussion padding. There's a bunch of them out there. Look up football concussion padding. There's a ton to choose from.
Yeah.
But you should have that in your helmet of some kind. Your helmet has to be padded to fit the individual fighter.
And there is something else. Now that I think about it, my Wolfrib doesn't come on the top. It doesn't touch the top of my head either because it comes up to a point. So, like, I just thought about that. That whole space up there is not connected. Interesting.
Yep. So, and same thing with my helmet. My helmet's got a big void at the top, right? It's so large, I actually don't have any concussion padding in the top of my helmet.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Because there's no way it can contact my head. If it does, I've got lots of
Somebody, if your helmet contacts your head, don't let that guy swing again ever. He never gets to swing an axe again. Like,
we have
get him.
We have died.
Yeah. Charlie's dead. Get whoever just hit him because I don't want to die either.
So, the thing to take away from this is there's this ongoing debate about Wolfribs and versus basically every other helm that looks pretty.
Yeah,
Wolfribs are ugly.
There's
the current meta, all right? Because
Also,
fighters think they need to breathe.
Can we talk about the meta? Meta stands for most effective tool available. That's what that means. Like, most effective tool. That's what meta means. That's it. Like, meta for this guy is different than meta for that guy.
It's also the game within a game.
Yeah, sure,
right?
sure. I
like
get
metadata.
That.
It's the associated side.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of that thing is like titanium armor versus steel.
Yeah.
Where you armor for your position. And we'll talk about a lot more about the meta stuff in our podcast on armor, but specifically on helms. Like when you're talking about a Wolfrib. It is the meta helm because it allows for full visibility. Like it's basically so. For those that are just listening, I haven't looked it up. Wolfrib, basically, imagine a knight's bassinet, pointy bassinet, but with a football grill.
Yeah.
Okay. It's an extant helm that they actually had at the time. They're just really ugly.
Yeah. They were actually the original helmet meant for this sport, right?
There's also some pictures of them in battle scenes as well. I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
I think it's more a tournament style helm, but we've had a lot of face injuries with these helms.
Yeah.
And everybody that wears one's like, oh, it's fine. It never happened to me. Well, dude, every like 4 to 6 weeks, somebody else is posting a picture of them getting stabbed in the eye. Yeah. There's that dude who became that involuntary sword swallower.
Oh my god!
Like went up, like he that like had X-rays of where it had like contacted the roof of his mouth at the back of his throat, and I'm like, so because this is a football style grill, it allows for penetration of the face mask, and so for that reason, I really don't like it.
Yeah,
right.
It's it feels like you're fighting naked, man.
Yeah,
it does.
Whereas I don't sacrifice much invisibility with my great helm because I have giant. I mean, you've worn it.
Yeah,
it's giant holes in the breast that you can see through. Right?
And it's got a visor, so it's got a visor. Between rounds.
You can pop the visor, all of this. And it's heavier, it's more protective, right? Now, you can tell both of us are solidly in the non-Wolfrib camp.
Even though I wear one right now.
Now, a lot of our other teammates are very pro-Wolfrib.
I think most of the men's team is Wolfrib.
Most of your high-level men's fighters are currently fighting in Wolfribs.
Yeah, I was talking about for the World or so, because I think it's like...
no, we got a lot of guys wearing nasal crosses because they went away from the Wolfrib because, like, when I ripped Brennan's nose off with his Wolfrib.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time he wore a Wolfrib.
He did go back to the cross helm.
Immediately back to the cross helm. Adam is currently wearing a cross helm, I'm pretty sure. He might have switched to a Wolfrib recently, very recently. Brett wears a Wolfrib. Cyrus wears a nasal. I think we're more nasal than Wolfrib, quite honestly.
I think the nasal is... the nasal is just the Wolfrib.
The nasal was the meta before the Wolfrib.
A nasal is just you've seen these helmets before. They've got a giant nose piece.
It's the exact same thing as a Wolfrib, but the football grill is hidden behind chainmail.
Yeah, it's got a nose. Yeah, it's got a big nose on it, and it's got the chainmail.
But the chainmail, in combination with the more bars you can have because they're hidden, means that it is a much safer helm.
Oh yeah, because it's like a grid behind that chainmail.
It's an actual football style grid, not like what they have in the Wolfribs. Because the aesthetic committee insists that they can only have one hidden eye bar. You end up with just a bunch of wide slots that swords can pass through very easily. But anyway, that
I've had too many nightmares about this sword dog.
But your helmet protects from two things: percussive impact and head movement. This is the thing most people forget: is it's got to protect against the head movement, right? And you need to, in order to avoid concussions, you need a heavy helmet that restricts your head's movement. And everyone's like, oh, I can't breathe. Oh, I can't move my head. I can't see. But dude, you can't see on the field anyway. I see you guys get blindsided all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not looking anyway. What's the matter?
Yeah, I don't. If I don't have my glasses on, I don't wear my glasses. I should wear. I need to get contacts. I don't wear my glasses.
Teammates. are this far away from taking up a collection to buy you some contacts.
I haven't hit one of my teammates in months, weeks,
Days.
No, I didn't. Did I hit anybody? I didn't team kill anybody at the Arnold.
You did not hit me at the Arnold. You are correct.
Trying to think that I.
No, was that you or was that Taylor?
No, Taylor. It was. I had a front row seat. Taylor Jones absolutely. I thought he broke Matt's arm.
he did kill Matt.
Yeah,
Matt Duncan.
He one shot at him too.
If you're listening, that was totally Taylor.
Yo, I was like,
surprised you ain't die.
Yeah, I was like, I think we just lost the fighter because he dropped immediately.
Dude, this Celsius is delicious.
I still don't know if it is or not.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Okay, so
they're not gonna sponsor it because I said it was kind of ass, but like
it grows on you, huh?
Yeah.
So, all right, slowing down the movement of the helmet or movement of the head is done because through weight of the helm, helm grounding out on your shoulders, and the proper use of a Simon strap or a Hans device. Okay, the Simon strap it does two things. One, it prevents it doesn't prevent your helmet from being removed. That's a misnomer. Okay. What it does do is it does prevent your helm from moving as much. It restricts the motion of the helm.
Right.
If your Simon strap is done correctly, it also helps prevent front head rips.
Yep.
All right, it saves your neck because when somebody tries to do a front head rip, the strap attaches the helmet to the back plate, and it's like you have an invulnerable neck. It won't bend.
Like they got to bend your whole body down in order to.
So. And when you've got like a big ginger gorilla like they have on Kenya pulling on your helmet, saves your neck so much. That dude is like the largest.
We're so close. We're so
huge.
Close. We were way closer against Kenya's than I thought. I thought Kenya.
The first round they really wrecked us. Second round was really close. And it didn't go 3 rounds.
Yeah, it was 2 rounds.
It was 2 rounds. The second round was real close.
Excellent fight too.
Really good fight.
McCabe. Oh no, I guess that was Huey. Because
Huey got you. Nick Huey got you. He had your number, dude.
Yeah, I got truck sticked a little bit.
Yeah,
it happens.
So, but did you get a concussion?
No concussion.
That's because you got a big ass helmet.
Yeah, and a giant head. Got all that weight. Yeah.
So big ass helmet, proper use of Simon strap. Okay.
It was good too. You cross checked me right in the side of the
Yep. If you guys, one of the teams that is now defunct, so I can pick on them. They ordered a bunch of helmets as a team.
What are you talking about, the Fire Drakes?
The Fire Drakes down in Florida. And
shout outs to the Fire Drake, all my Fire Drake boys watching. Shout outs to them.
Former Fire Drakes. The FFs.
The FFs.
FFDs, baby.
That's crazy.
Former Fire Drakes.
I think they're the Florida men. A lot of those guys.
The Florida men is like their regional team for all those guys, which is hilarious.
That's dope.
But we went down to put on their first event, and every one of their helmets was too small. Everyone was too small.
Yeah.
Now, I went on their head, but the problem was there was no room for padding.
Yeah.
And you need, in our sport, minimum 1 inch padding, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Minimum
1 inch padding. Yeah.
And some places in my helmet, I've got close to 2, which sounds excessive, but again, I don't want any concussions.
He's playing a different game.
Like, I wear full plate, I wear a big heavy helmet because I'm 41 years old, and I don't really want to have to recover from injuries anymore. Let me rephrase that. I don't recover from injuries as well as I used to. So let's just not get them.
He's 41, Doug. They grew up so fast.
Oh my God.
It seemed like just yesterday you were, what, 30, mid-30s?
When we started, I was.
Yeah.
35.
Yep.
So anyway, for me, it's about prevention of injury to begin with, right? And if you're wearing a little bit heavier helmet, using a Simon strap, and in my opinion, a combination of a chin cup or a chin pad with a throat strap, so that your helmet is not as solidly connected to your head as, say, the two strap system or the Ursus system, is just better for protection, right? It's also better at keeping your helmet on. I've never had my helmet come off where I did not have a strap completely ripped out.
Yeah.
Right. And I've never
And
actually.
that's the thing, like strap failures happen. So
And I haven't had it actually come off ever. I've just went, oh, the strap broke and took a dive, right?
Oh, you also had that one time your visor
Completely
opened.
different.
That was some funny shit too, because you can see in the video.
That was on my old helmet. That was like my very first helmet.
In the video, his visor opens, he closes it and tries to go back to fight. The ref's like, nah, sit down.
No. He's like, click. I didn't get away with that. I tried.
You saw his full face, and you're just like, what? And he's like, and the ref's like, no.
It's fixed, ref. Come on. What happened was is I didn't have the secondary retention on my face, on my strap, and that particular helm didn't have a large hook for the face mask retention. And so I was hit in the back of the helmet with just a light tap, but it moved the helmet just enough that the pin delayed and the helmet popped up.
Oh my God.
And then it clicked right back into place and locked in place correctly. But that just shows you how much movement happens when you get hit, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that's what we got on concussions. Remember that if you get a concussion, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
It just is.
Don't
you
do
have,
those.
You have the concussions. After you've listened to this podcast, you now have the information you need. And you should go repad your helmet. And if you don't have a big, heavy helm, you should be purchasing one.
I need to purchase a helmet because my helmet has a crack in it.
If your helmet is cracked, don't fight it. So, on the subject of big, heavy helmets, I'm going to give a shout out to my homie Alan Benjamin. This is not a paid ad, but he runs Benjamin Armory down in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's Alan Benjamin, Bijman. On Facebook. He doesn't have a website. Just slide into his DMs and tell him you want a tank loaf.
Just slide in his DMs and say, I heard Khajiit has wares. And he'll say, does Khajiit has wares if you have coin?
Yeah.
And that's how the conversation will start. Every time.
But he probably makes one of the biggest, beefiest loaves. Right.
Biggest, beefiest loaf.
Exactly. He does a 3mm tank loaf that is absolutely concussion proof as long as you pad it out correctly.
Hello, this is Benjamin Arms, home of the biggest, beefiest loaf. What?
So, there are also other folks. Let's talk about real quick before we wrap this one up. Styles of helms.
Okay.
So they can look at for specifically prevention of concussion.
Okay. Oh shit.
So, Wolfrib.
All right.
Throw that one out.
Oh, goes away.
It's gone.
It's illegal.
Too late. Right. Next up would be a nasal.
Nasal,
because you got the extra weight of the chainmail on it that helps slow down rotation. Okay. And if you get one those are a little large enough, then it'll still ground out,
cover all the rules.
Yep. Okay. Romance of Alexander, I can't actually.
I'll let you know about the ROA in a few months.
So here's the problem with the ROA. The Romance of Alexander helmet is like a sugar loaf, but whereas a sugar loaf has a complete internal structure to the helmet,
does not.
The Romance of Alexander does not. It's open face once the visor closes. So you couldn't put in a chin cup or chin pad into that helmet. All right. So you'd have to go with a locked-in D-ring style, the Ursus D-ring style, or the twin strap Ukrainian style. So for me, that for my concussion specific standpoint, okay. So Romance of Alexander, can't really recommend it big from a concussion standpoint because you have to strap it heavy to your head.
Okay.
All right. Because it lacks the ability to put a chin cup in it. That doesn't mean it's not a safe helmet. It just means you're more likely to catch a concussion in it.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now we're talking about percentages. Percentages are also real small.
Yeah.
Right. We're not.
Much so.
Most times you don't get a concussion. Right. Moving up from then Sugarloaf, which is my personal favorite helm. I love the Loaf. Loaf Life is what I recommend to any new fighter. It's big. It's sexy. It's got that awesome cross.
It's got the
classic cross visor. Has a visor.
Right? So having a visor. Rounds. I think having a visor is dope.
If you drill out the breaths to be sporterized, you don't have really any vision problems.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you just can't see anything and you feel safe that way.
If I can't see it, it can't hurt me.
Exactly. So I think that's one of my top choices from concussion prevention and style. Yeah, it's run.
Okay.
So from concussion prevention and style.
Gotcha.
Right. from that, if you're going to go up in protection, great bassinet.
Okay.
It's even more protective than Sugarloaf, and you have all kinds of options for visors. So you can run a Pierce visor, you can run trellis visor, which is like just basically a football grill.
Yeah, it's just a Wolfrib.
Yep, it's just a Wolfrib and a better helm.
Yeah.
So if you want all the Wolfrib and all the protection,
the
trellis visor, grand bassinet.
Yeah, the grand bassinet, like that motherfucker sits on your shoulders, like it doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and then if you got
That's what you got now is a grand bassinet, right?
grand bassinet. Yep. And if you want the creme de la creme, no concussions ever, it's got to be the frog face.
I like the frog face.
It's a good looking helmet.
I like it. I like
sort
the way
of,
it looks.
but it's a jousting helmet. You shouldn't fight in our sport with it.
I think it looks.
You'll never get a concussion
never ever.
because this thing bolts down to your chest.
Yeah, like-
and it doesn't touch your head anywhere, and it looks like a frog head.
Yeah.
Right. But you are also going to get head ripped every time you turn around because you can't move your head.
If someone shows up with a frog face bassinet, we should be allowed to call a cavalry charge.
You know what? I should get one and wear it in the 16s.
I think. Why not, dog? You're the guy
around axing people with the frog head.
You're the guy who wears tanky helmets, bro. It's like, oh my God, who's that monster in the frog face? That's Charlie.
So, but you can't see it, you can't breathe. It is completely, totally not a competitive helm at all.
You could drill out your holes.
There's no breaths in those.
Yeah.
It actually has a door that opens so you can breathe while you're waiting for your horse to turn around. It is not a fighting. It's for jousting.
Only frog face I've seen had holes in it.
No, it doesn't have holes in it, man.
The helmet that Sean used to wear.
That's not a frog face.
Oh.
We called that one Pepe because it looked like Pepe the Frog.
Oh.
I'm talking about the frog face, the one that's like pointy, like this,
Oh my God.
with a little triangle shaped visor.
Oh my God. That thing. I almost got one of those, right?
You should not.
Oh my. I was looking at it. I was like, that's kind of dope because I thought it had a visor.
They look like some out of Star Wars, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, I might get one of those. So then I saw the nasal and was like,
Another helm that is a late period helm that's like arme or close helm. Okay. These are really not good helms for our sport.
Yeah.
If you're fighting melees. I love them. They're
beautiful.
Sexy. They're beautiful.
They're the night helmet.
the pinnacle of night helmets.
Yeah, straight up.
The problem is they sit really close to the back of your head.
And you will get put to sleep in them.
Yeah, you will get put to sleep in them.
Yeah.
Like because it sweeps in very close. It's a very close fitting helmet.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough room for padding to take those big heavy axe strikes.
Ethan Wilhelm was wearing one.
And I watched him get destroyed on
Night Fight. Yeah, there, you see it on Night Fight. He gets hit in the back of the helmet.
Yep.
And he's just on the ground for
I had a
around.
front row seat to watch him get deleted with that.
Whew.
And that concussion,
He had just got
that concussion had him out of sorts for 6 months.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like he had anger issues and the whole laundry list of concussion,
Ugh.
light sensitivity, nausea for months and months and months. It was a real bad concussion.
He doesn't wear that anymore.
He shelved that one immediately. He's back to wearing a Sugarloaf.
Good.
So
I like Sugarloaf Wilhelm. Sugarloaf Wilhelm was him.
Yeah.
I liked him.
all right.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we got, man.
I love armaments. I love it.
They're gorgeous, but you can't. So, if you want a competitive helm that is super like defensible against concussions, I got to go with the Great Bassinet trellis visor, even though it's ugly.
Yeah, fair.
Right,
fair.
Pierce visor being the second choice.
That's the one you have, right?
I have a pig face that I've turned into a Pierce visor.
Oh,
with a drill.
that's funny. That's funny.
A helm that I cannot recommend at all ever is a claps visor.
You don't like clap visors?
It has one point of failure.
Hey, man.
You cut the single hinge right here in the center of your forehead off. Gets hit with an axe and the visor falls off.
There's a picture of a guy taking a sword strike right to his face, and you can see the clap visor coming off open. It's just like, oh my God.
They have a single point of failure. No, I hear.
my God.
But yeah, so the good thing about sport is there's so much different equipment that you can wear. You have literally hundreds of years to choose from.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing in the period.
Yeah.
Look at late period armor. Go with a late period kit.
Fair.
You're just going to be safer.
Yeah.
Right. Box standard Boohurt stuff, in my opinion, is too early to enjoy a lot of the safety features you get from the late period kits. And on that note, it's time for us to call it a bit adieu for episode 3.
I'm Charles.
I'm Charlie.
He's the pretty one.
Merch.com. WordIsLove.com.
Merch. We're still doing merch.
Don't forget to follow us on all your social medias, your Twitters, your Facebooks, your Instagrams.
Stay out of my DMs. I'm just kidding. Guys. Don't stay out of my DMs.
Charles is working on his next baby mama.
We'll
see you in episode 4.
Oh my goodness gracious.